Hello, this is Magnus from Fox Gaming. Today we are going to play out the final battle in Season 1 for Battle Companies. We are going to play this battle because two of the battle companies in the first season tied for first, and those battle companies are Durins Folk, the dwarves, and the Warg Riders of Drozorg. Because the Warg Riders have 88 points less than the dwarves, they are getting some reinforcements for this battle. And that means that Drozorg, the late dead leader, will come back to life only for this battle to participate and even the scales. In addition to this, the Warg Riders have gotten 2 Warg Riders so that the points match. The battle companies are about 350 points strong. Today's mission will be a kill mission. The only goal is to eliminate the enemy and get their battle company down to 25% of their starting numbers. If this is achieved, the battle company that does this is victorious and will be the winner of the campaign. And here we can see the board that we are playing on and the deployment zone. So now into who is going to deploy first. The highest scoring die will determine who will deploy first and choose their table edge. The green die is the dwarves. And it goes to the Warg Riders. And this is how the Warg Riders deployed, with their archers over to this side over here and the ones with shield in the middle. Over here we have all the throwing spears and Vargmar and Fido over here. The dwarves, being fewer in numbers, takes up a defensive position over here, making ready to engage the Warg Riders and try to shoot some of them out on their way forward. Priority in the first round goes to Warg Riders. Let's begin the battle. In the first round, all the Warg Riders moved up. Their archers over here taking cover behind these rocks, and the ones with shield and the 2 wargs in the middle. Over here, the throwing spears are taking cover in this stony outcrop. In the dwarf movement phase, all the dwarf close combat units moved up to not be trapped by the wall behind them. The archers stood still and will fire their bows in the shooting phase. The Warg Riders will not shoot, so on to dwarven shooting. Starting with Trubo, he will fire 2 shots at the enemy leader Drozorg, hitting on 4 up. Oh, that's cocked. Yeah, 2 hits. Warg or Rider, 1 on the Warg and 1 on the Rider. 5 up to kill the Warg, and he gets it! 6s to wound Drozorg. No, but he has a 3 points of might every turn, so he will turn that into a 6. Wonderful start for the dwarves. Drozorg has 1 fate and 2 might. He needs to save this. Can he get it? Yes, he saves with a fate roll. And I still haven't got any orc models painted up, so Sork will do as Drozorg in the rest of this battle. He needs to take a Throne Rider roll, and he's fine. Next we have Drudar, and he will fire his bow at Snugug over there, needing a 4 up to hit. And he misses. And the last dwarven bow will also shoot at Snugug, needing 4 up. And he hits with a 5. Or Rider. He hits the Rider. 5 up to wound. Oh, that's close. It's the end of turn 1, and priority in the next round goes to Warg Riders. In the movement phase, the Warg Riders moved up, making sure to be outside of the charge range of the dwarves, but closing in the distance and coming in from all sides. In the dwarves movement phase, they moved closer to the Warg Riders so that in the event that they get priority, they can charge next turn. The archers moved to the left, the ones that can move and shoot without penalties, to shoot at the Warg Riders with bow. This warrior stood still to shoot at the oncoming Warg Riders from the left. Shooting from the Warg Riders, so on to dwarven shooting. Starting with Trubo, he will shoot at the Warg Rider over here. 4 up to hit, and he gets 1 hit. Warg or Rider hits the Warg. Getting 5 up to kill, and he gets... Oh, that's cocked. He gets a 6, killing the Warg. On Rider. Oh, he fails! Now, we will replace this model with a Moria Goblin. He's still an Orc though, but I don't have any models. He takes a strength 3 hit, and on a roll of a 5 or a 6, he's dead. Oh, close. Or not close at all, actually. Also, he is knocked prone. Next, Drudar will shoot at the Warg Rider in the back here, and he needs 4 up to hit. And he hits. Warg or Rider hits the Warg. 5 up to kill. Oh, he gets it! Prone Rider. Oh, he's fine. Oh, the Warg is gone, and in comes an Orc. The last Dwarf Warrior will shoot at this Warg Rider over here. 4 plus to hit, no, 4 plus to hit, and he hits. Warg or Rider hits the Warg. 5 up to kill, and he gets the 6. The Warg is dead. Throne Rider. Oh, it's a 1. 5 up, and the Warg Rider is dead also. And nothing. Great shooting from the dwarves, and this model is gone, replaced by an Orc who is knocked prone. Great start for the dwarves, and on to priority in the next round, and it goes to the Warg Riders. Gando will use a point of might, calling a heroic move, and this is then countered by Zork. Not Zork, Drossorg. That's the right name. So we will have a roll-off to see who will move first. 4 to 6 goes to the dwarves. Oh, that's cocked. Oh, it goes to the dwarves. Lucky break. The dwarves went into combat negating the Warg charge as best they could, but now Gruul will move into combat with this Warg and throw his daggers on his way in. 4 up to hit, and he hits, needing 5s to kill. Ooh, close. Because Drossor got engaged in combat, his point of might is spent and he cannot use a heroic move. Now, the Warg Riders got to move, and they moved up on this flank to be able to come into the rear of the dwarves in a turn or two. Over here, the same thing happened with the archers, but these two moved half to be able to shoot their bows this turn. The dwarven archers moved up on the other side of the building to be able to shoot at this flank over here, as they see that it may be the weakest flank of them all. In the shooting phase, these orcs will shoot at the foe spear in the back, and they need 6s to hit. And they get 1 hit in the way because of the shield, needing a 4 up. And gets it. 6s to kill. Oh. Now, dwarf shooting. Trubo will start, and he will shoot at this Warg Rider, needing 4 up to hit. Gets 1 hit. Or Rider hits the Rider, needing a 5 to kill. Oh no, it's a 2. Drudar is next, same target, needing a 4 up to hit. And he hits. Will he hit the Warg or Rider? Hits the Rider, and needing 5 up to kill. No! Last archer, same target. 4 up to hit. He hits. Warg or Rider hits the Warg, needing a 5 up to kill. And he gets it! On Rider, he succeeds. The Warg is dead, and a substitute Orc in place, not knocked prone because he succeeded in his Throne Rider role. On to the combat phase. Snugug has a free heroic combat every turn, and he will call that now. No heroics for the dwarves. And Snugug sets the bar at a 2. Bolt Warden team gets 6. Easy win. Going for the Rider, needing 5 up. Nothing. Next, we have a Warg Rider against a Dwarf with 2-handed axe, and the Dwarf will use his 2-handed axe. The Warg Rider sets the bar at a 6, which means he wins automatically. The Dwarf is knocked prone, and he gets 4 attacks against him. The Warg Rider needs 5 up to finish him off. Can he do it? Yes, 3 times over, and this Dwarf is dead. Next, we have Goff against a Warg Rider, Goff having 2 attacks. He will strike first, and he gets a 5. Rider who got negated their charge will roll 1 die, and they get also 5, but they lose on fight value. Goff needs 5s to kill, going for the Rider and the Warg second if he kills the Rider, needing 5s, and he gets 1, so the Rider is dead. Will the Warg stick around? Courage check. He gets a 6, and he has 2 courage plus 1 for Drossorg. That is not enough, so he runs from the battlefield. Next we have Gruel against Fido, and Gruel sets the bar at a 6, winning on fight value. Needing 4 up to kill, and he gets the 6 fate roll for Fido. Oh, he fails! Midzu against Vargmar, and Midzu is burly, sets the bar at a 3, and Vargmar gets 4. 5s to kill? No! Next we have Kassa against a Warg Rider, and Kassa sets the bar at a 2. The Warg Rider gets a 1! Going for the Rider, needing 5s. No! Lastly, we have a Kassad Guard against the Warg Rider with Throwing Spear, and the Kassad Guard sets the bar at a 5, and the Warg Rider gets also 5. But he wins because the Kassad Guard uses his 2-handed weapon. 6 is to kill because of the 7 defense on the Kassad Guard. And can he do it? No. I forgot this fight over here. Gando and Brummel will fight Drozorg, and Drozorg will be shielding. The dwarf sets the bar and gets a 5. And Drozorg gets a 5. And that is not enough, so he will lose on fight value. Gando needs 6s and Brummel needs 5s to wound Drozorg, and they get nothing. Priority for the next turn goes to the Wargs. Gando will use his last point of might to call a heroic move, and Drozorg will do the same, countering it. So it's a roll-off. 4 to 6 goes to good. And it goes to the Warg Riders. This orc wants to move into combat with Midzu, and he will throw his spear on his way in, needing a 5 up. And he misses, moves into combat. The next Warg Rider will do the same, but into the Kassad Guard, needing a 5 up to hit. He misses. The rest of the Warg Riders moved into combat or in position to charge next turn. The dwarves couldn't move much, but Brummel went into combat with Fido, and Turbo moved over here to be able to shoot at the Warg Rider down there. In the shoot phase, Asgard is throwing his spear up at this bowman, and he needs 6 up to hit, and he misses. Dwarven shooting. Turbo is shooting through the window and down on this Warg Rider. He needs 4 up to hit, and he gets 1 hit. He will use his 3 points of might when shooting to turn that into a 4, scoring 2 hits. Warg or Rider. He hits the Warg with both shots, needing 5s to kill, and he gets the 5. Throne Rider on the Warg Rider, and he fails! 5 up, and he's dead also. And nothing. Oh, the Warg is dead, and the Warg Rider is fine. Drudar shooting at Asgard, and he needs 4 up to hit. And he hits. Warg or Rider hits the Warg. 5 up to kill the Warg? No. Last bowman, same target, needing 4 up. And he misses. In the fight phase, Snugug is using his 3 points of might, or not 3 points of might, but his 3 heroic combat. And no response from the dwarves. Snugug sets the bar and he gets 3. The Iron Shield gets the 6, winning the fight. Going for the Rider, needing a 5 up. And he gets a 4. Next we have Arset against a Foe Spear, and Arset sets the bar and gets a 2, knocking an orc over. Foe Spear, 1! Set needing 5 to kill, and he gets 1 6 and 1 5, so this Foe Spear is gone. Next, the Warg Rider against an Iron Shield, and the Warg Rider gets double 1s. The Iron Shield gets a -1 because he's not supported by a spear, and he gets a 6, winning the fights. Going for the Rider, needing 4 up. And he gets the 4, the Rider is dead. Courage on the Warg, and he fails, being just outside of the 6-inch range of Drozorg, so he is dead. Next we have a Warg Rider against the Foe Spear, and the Warg Rider gets 6. Getting a 6 to win this fight, Foe Spear gets 5. Rider needs 5s to kill him. Can he do it? No! And is it a hero? No, it's not. So he survives. Goff against the Warg Rider, and the Rider gets 6. Goff gets 5. 6s to wound Goff, and he gets nothing. Gando against Drozorg, and Gando gets 3. Drozorg 6, winning the fight. Drozorg needs 6s to wound Gando. Can he do it? Oh, that one is cocked. Roll it again. Oh, it's cocked again, roll it again, and gets the 4. Brummel against Vargmar, and Brummel will fight with his two-handed weapon, and getting a 2, which is turned into a 1, and the Vargmar gets a 5. 5s to kill? No! Next, we have Gruul against the Warg Rider, and Gruul sets the bar. Double 1s! Warg Rider gets the 6, winning the fight. Hitting 5s to win Gruul, and gets nothing. Next, we have Midsu against an Orc, and the Orc gets 2. Midsu gets 6. Midsu only needs a 4 to kill him, and he gets a 2. In this next fight, Kaza will be shielding, and he gets a 6, winning automatically. And the last fight, the Khazad Guard will strike with his two-handed weapon, and he gets 6, which is turned down to a 5. The Warg Rider, can he respond to this? No! Going for the Rider, he needs 3 to kill him, and he gets 1! In the next turn, priority goes to the Warg Riders. Kaza will use a Point of Might to call it a heroic move. This is then countered by R-Set, so it's a roll-off. 4 to 6 goes to the Dwarves. And it goes to the Warg Riders. R-Set moved first with his heroic move, and his troops followed, trying to tie up as many dwarves as possible before Kaza could do his heroic move. The dwarves went into combat and made it so that these Warg Riders don't get their charging bonus. Asgard went into combat with Brummel over here, and the other orc is following him. The dwarven archers have to come down from their ruins and help out their comrades. This first one will take a climb test to try to come down. He gets a 3, which means he can move down here. Tudar is next, and he gets a 6, which means he can continue his move. He continued his move to over here. He's a seasoned archer, so he can shoot either way. Last we have Trubo, and he gets a 1, so he falls and have to take a strength 3 hit. On a 6, he takes a wound. Nothing. In the shooting phase, Drudar is the only one who can shoot, and he will shoot at this orc over here who is not in combat, needing a 4 up to hit. He gets a 2. On to the combat phase, and boy, do we have a lot of combat. Let's start over here with the Khazad Guard and the Warg Rider, and the Khazad Guard sets the bar, swinging two-handed, getting a 5, and the Warg Rider 3. Going for the Rider and needing a 3 up. And he gets a 1! That's the second time! Kaza is next, and he's fighting this Warg Rider, and Kaza sets the bar and he gets a 4, and the Warg Rider gets 3! Hitting 5s to kill, and he gets a 2. Midzu is fighting this orc, and Midzu gets 2, and the orc also 2, but Midzu wins on fight value. He is burly, so we do not get the -1 on his duel rolls. Being forced to kill, and he gets it. Next, Gruul is fighting a Warg Rider with throwing spear, and Gruul gets... Oh, that is cocked. Strange way to get a cocked die. Well, he gets a 4. Warg Rider gets the 1. Gruul having 2 attacks, prioritizing the Warg Rider. He needs 4s either way. So he will try to get that, and he gets 2 4s, which means that the Warg and the Rider is dead. Next we have Brummel the Dwarf against a Warg Rider and a Warg, and he will strike with a normal weapon, so we do not get a -1, and he gets a 3. The Warg Rider gets the 6, winning the fight. He is knocked prone and gets 6 attacks against him. On a 5 or a 6, Brummel takes wounds, and he gets 2 wounds. He has only 1 wound and 1 fate, so he is dead. Gando is fighting R-Set and Drozorg, and he will be shielding because of this unfortunate situation, and he gets a 5. R-Set gets a 3, and Drozorg make this, he gets a 4. And he's out of might, so he can't do anything about it, which means that Gando wins. Next, Goff is fighting a Warg Rider with shield, and Goff has 2 attacks, and he gets 4, and the Warg Rider gets 6. He is knocked prone, and the Warg Rider needs 6s to wound him. Can he do it? He gets 1 6. Goff has a fate point, and he will use that, and he saves. Next we have Snugug against an Iron Shield, and the Iron Shield sets the bar -1 on duel rolls, and getting a 1. And Snugug, he should beat this. Yes, he does. Iron Shield has a defense of 9, so even though he's not prone, Snugug needs 6s by 4s to wound or to kill. Let's see if he can do it. He gets a 6. Can he get a 4? He does, and the Iron Shield is dead. Next, we have a foe spear against the Warg Rider, and the foe spear needs a 6 to get this. No, he gets a 4, and the Warg Rider also 4, which means that he actually wins the fight, or the Warg Rider loses the fight. This time, the foe spear will go for the Warg, needing 4 up to kill, and no. Lastly, we have this Iron Shield against 3 orcs, and the Iron Shield will be shielding. And he gets a 3, and the orcs gets a 5, winning the fights. 6s by 5s to wound the Iron Shield, and they get nothing. Priority for the next round goes to... oh, it goes to the dwarves on a tie. Our set is using a point of might to calling a heroic move, and Kaza will counter this with his last point of might. 4 to 6 goes to the dwarves. And it does! The dwarves used Kaza's heroic move to get into combat with a lot of Warg Riders, and Gando went into combat with our set, negating his heroic move. So the dwarves can take the rest of their turn. And that means that Durudar get into combat with this orc, and the last 2 archers are just standing up and moving closer for the next round. One of the orcs went into combat with the Iron Shield over here, but interestingly enough, this last orc went into combat with this foe spear, because if Snugug gets off his heroic combat, these 3 Warg Riders can charge again. So let's see how that goes. Starting with that combat, the foe spear will need a high number here, and he gets a 6, which means that he wins automatically. That is not true, of course, because Drosorg has a fight of 4. Or Snugug rather, has a fight of 4. He's been upgraded. So if they get a 6 here, it's a tie. Oh, that one is cocked. Roll it again, and gets the 1. So the foe spear survives this round. And he will strike on this Warg over here, needing a 4 up to kill. No! In this next fight, the Iron Shield will be shielding, and he gets a 3. And the orcs gets the 4, needing 6s by 5s to wound. And gets 1 6. Can they get the 5? No! Next, we have Goff against the Warg Rider, and Goff with his 2 attacks sets the bar at a 2. That is not good. And the Warg Rider gets a 4. 6 to wound? No. Arset and Drosorg are fighting Gando, and Gando is shielding, getting 4 attacks, and he gets a 5. The orcs gets 5. Arset has a point of might, but he will not use it because he probably will need it for a heroic move later, so he will save that. Next we have Drudar against an orc, and Drudar gets 1, and the orc 4. 6s to wound Drudar? No. Grul is up against Asgard, and Grul with his 2 attacks gets 2. And Asgard 5. Needing 5s to wound? No. Next we have Kaza against the Warg, and Kaza gets a 5. And the Warg 2. The Warg Vagmar is a hero, which means that Kaza gets +1 to wound him, and then he needs 4s to kill. And he gets it! Hit roll for Vagmar, and he fails! He's dead. Next we have a Kassad Guard against a Warg Rider, and the Kassad Guard gets 5, and the Warg Rider 1. Going for the Rider, needing 3 up. And he gets a 4, and this is not a hero, so the Warg Rider is dead. Can the Warg save this courage check? And he... maybe? He was just outside of Drosorg's 6-inch courage boost, so he is gone. And the last fight this turn is Midzu against a Warg Rider, and Midzu, being burly, gets a 4, and the Warg Rider 5, needing 5 up to kill, and gets the 6. Fate roll for Midzu. He saves. Priority for the next round goes to the Warg Riders. The orcs engaged in multiple places, but the 3 Warg Riders that has throwing weapons will use them now. So Asgard will go into Grul, and he will need 5 up to hit on his way in. And he hits. He has a strength of 3, needing 6s. Nothing. Now this Warg Rider will do the same against Mitsu, and he throws his weapon, needing a 5-up, no. And the last one wants to go over here, throwing his spear on the way in and needing a 5, nothing. Well, everyone is engaged in combat, and we will just have to look to the dice to see who wins. Start things off, Snugug is calling a heroic combat, as he can do 3 every turn, and he gets a 3. The foe spear gets a 2. He's knocked prone, and Snugug needs 5s to kill him. And he gets the 5, so the foe spear is dead. He can then charge into another combat and goes into Goff over here. Next we have an Iron Shield against an Orc, and the Iron Shield gets a 5 because of his -1 penalty, and the Orc gets a 4. Needing a 4-up to kill the Orc. Oh, that is a cocked die. Strange. Reroll. He gets it. The Orc is dead. Next, Trubo is fighting an Orc, and Trubo gets a 2, and the Orc also 2, which means that Trubo wins the fight. Needing 5s to kill the Orc? No. Next, we have an Archer against a Warg Rider, and the Dwarven Archer gets a 5, and the Warg Rider 3. Striking at the Rider, needing a 5 or 6, nothing. Drudar against Arsets, and Drudar sets the bar at a 4, and Arsets 5. 5 up to kill, and he gets nothing. Next we have Snugug and an Orc against Goff, and the Orcs gets a 4 and a 1, and Goff gets 5. Forgot Snugug has an extra attack because he charged in. Can he get a 5? He does! Which means it's a tie, so 4 to 6 goes to the Dwarves. And it goes to the Dwarves. Goff is going for Snugug, needing 5 up to wound him, and he gets nothing! Next we have Gando against the Warg Rider, and Gando gets a 2. And the Warg Rider 3. Barely. Needing 6s to wound, and he gets 1 wound. Fate roll for Gando, and he makes it. Next we have Drozorg against Kaza, and Drozorg with his 2 attacks sets the bar at a 5. Kaza gets 6. Normally he will need a 6 to wound Drozorg, but he has +1 because of his special rule. So 5 up, Drozorg takes a wound, nothing. Next we have Gruul against Asgard, and Gruul gets double 6s, winning automatically. Prioritizing the Rider, needing a 4 up. And he gets 2 4s. Asgard has a point of fate, and he will use that now. Can he save himself? No! So the first attack kills Asgard, and the second attack kills his Warg. Next we have a Castle Guard against an Orc, and the Castle Guard sets the bar at a 3, and the Orc 1, which means the Castle Guard win even with his -1 penalty. Needing a 3 up to kill the Orc, and he gets a 5. The Orc is dead. And the last fight, Mitsu is fighting a Warg Rider, and Mitsu gets a 5, and the Warg Rider 6. Needing 5s to kill Mitsu, and he gets 2 wounds. Mitsu cannot save that, so he's dead. As of right now, the Warg Riders are broken and will have to start taking courage checks before they move. Priority goes to... oh, it goes to the Dwarves. Arset is taking a risk, calling a heroic move, which means they will have to take courage checks, but there are a lot of heroes, so they may come out of this okay. Arset is first, and he gets a 7, which is a 9 + 1 for Drozorg's aura, so he's good. And that means that only Drozorg and Snugug have to take courage checks, because everyone else was within 6 inches of Arset. So Drozorg first, needing a 7 up, and he gets it. 7 up is a drink. And Snugug gets 5, so he is gone. The Orcs have made some favorable charges, trying to get out of the distance of this Castle Guard and this Iron Shield. This Warg Rider will throw his spear on his way in and will lead a 5 up, and he misses. I would say that the dwarves have the upper hand, as they are not broken yet, but this combat phase will be a turning point, I think, with a lot of charges from the Warg Riders. Now, let's get into it. Drozorg is fighting 2 dwarves, and he will be shielding to try to hold them off, and he gets a 6. Kaza and Gruul are next, and they get 5. Next we have Gando against Arset and an orc, and Gando will be shielding. The orc sets the bar and gets 5. And Gando gets the 6. Next, Goff is fighting a Warg Rider, and Goff sets the bar and gets the 6, winning automatically. Going for the Rider, needing a 5 up. And he gets 1 5 and 1 6, which means the Warg Rider is dead, and so is the Warg. Now we have the Warg Rider against Drudar, and Warg Riders get 6, and Drudar needs a 6 here, and he gets it! Incredible! Going for the Rider, needing a 5 up. No! Dwarven Archer against a Warg Rider, and the Archer gets a 1, and the charging Warg Rider 5. He's not prone and gets 4 attacks against him, and the Warg Rider needs 5 to wound, and he gets a wound, and the warrior is dead. In the last fight, Drudar, or not Drudar, but Trubo is fighting an orc, and Trubo gets a 6, winning automatically. Being 5 up to kill the orc? No. He has a special rule called Baruk Kazad, which means he can re-roll once when fighting orc models. So he can roll again, and he gets a 5, which means the orc is dead. The dwarves are still not broken, but the Warg Riders only have 5 models left, which means if they lose 1 more model, they have lost the game. Let's roll priority. And priority goes to Warg Riders. Starting with Courage Chest on our sets, he will need a 7 or more. And he gets a 5, which means he runs from the battlefield. Next we have Drossorg. And he also needs a 7 up, and he gets an 11. The rest of the orcs are within 6 inches of Drossorg, which means they don't have to take courage checks. And this is how the battlefield are looking now. So this Warg Rider will throw his spear on his way into Drudar, and he misses, but still he goes into combat. This does not look good for the orcs, but they will fight until the bitter end. Let's start with this combat over here. The Warg Rider sets the bar at a 4, and the dwarves get 5. Going for the Rider, the white die is the Cassette Guard, which needs a 3, and they get nothing. Next we have Trubo against a Warg Rider, and Trubo gets a 5, and the Warg Riders 6. He's not prone and gets 4 attacks against him. 5 up, it's a wound, and it's 1 wound, and he has a fate. He will use that, and he failed, which means he is dead. Here the orc sets the bar, and he gets a 4. The dwarves gets 6. Being 4s on the white die and 5s on the green ones, and gets 2 wounds. This orc is dead. And the last fight, Drossorg sets the bar. He gets a 5. Gando 4. Kaza 5. And Grul gets also 5. Drossorg is in all kinds of trouble, and Grul will start needing 4 up. No, not 4 up, 5 up, but he gets 2 wounds. Drossorg has only 1 fate and 1 wound, so he is dead. That is it, guys and gals. The dwarves are victorious. Congratulations to Durins Folk on winning the first season of Battle Companies. Yay! This is it for now. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video and found it helpful, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to our channel for more exciting content like this. By subscribing, you'll stay up to date with our latest videos and be a part of our growing community. We appreciate your support, and it encourages us to create more valuable content. So go ahead, hit the like and subscribe buttons, and we'll see you in the next video.